That's number one. You kind of reset.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. All right. Hello and welcome back to the Real Health Podcast with Brandi and Amir. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor, and Brandi Rashidian is my other half and the boss of everything and everyone. Thank you for joining us again.
Well,
Ms.
thank
Brandi.
you for having me, and thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Real Health Podcast is where we review latest articles. We talk to you about what it means, what it could mean to you, and how to apply that to your life. Because our focus, our main goal for you, our audience, is that you feel better, you get stronger, you live longer, and you feel younger. We feel younger.
Yeah.
You had your workout today?
I did. It was good.
Yeah.
It was a pole day.
You did some good. I was tired today. I didn't hit maximum weight on some of the exercises, and it's because I didn't sleep very well. Last night I slept, but the past 3 nights I didn't sleep very well.
You know, we're going to be talking today too about how some of the people in the world who've lived to 100 and done it well, how they do it. I'm pretty sure sleep is an important aspect. So
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yep. So what do you say we jump right in?
I'm excited about that.
You-
What do we have today?
We have some good stuff. First thing I want to talk about, which is something I promised we would do during the last episode, is that we would talk about how there's heavy metals and toxins in cosmetics.
Yeah.
And I want to dive deep into that. But then there's a lot of articles about COVID again and COVID shots and so on, just because there's an uptick with the weather getting colder and so on. People are getting sick, and there's articles about the flu and the RSV and all of this stuff. So, but
we've touched on a few of those that have come up.
we certainly don't want to do that again. But maybe we'll just touch on some of the headlines of some of the things, and I'll tell you what was important about each article. But to start, this first article is from the American Journal of Biomedical Science and Research. So unlike the other articles, those were all in mainstream media, newspapers and magazines, CNN, NBC, ABC, U.S. News, USA Today. But this one's in a medical journal. And also, it's not brand new, but I thought it's important because everyone's really concerned about their health and what they're putting on their body as well as what they're putting into their bodies. And so for that reason, I thought I'd review this one for you. It's a short article, 6 pages, but only 3 pages is the text, and the other 3 pages is a list of all the references, and it's in fine print. Literally, I think I need reading glasses to actually 4 pages of references follow. So I
was very happy to let him have that one.
It's a very well researched article. So the title says "Heavy Metals in Cosmetics: The Notorious Daredevils and Burning Health Issues." Some of the authors, I think all of the authors are foreigners. So when I read some of this to you grammatically, there may be some mistakes in there. Forgive me for that. I know they are mistakes, but I'm going to read you what it says. In the abstract, one sentence is some of the ingredients in cosmetic products are able to penetrate the skin and produce systemic exposure. So I think that's the most important thing. What you put in your skin does go inside your body.
Yeah. I mean, in most cases, depending on what it is, it gets into the bloodstream quite quickly.
The occurrence of metals in cosmetic products is of concern for 3 principal reasons. One is it could represent a possible source of population-wide exposure daily and often long-term exposure to metals in cosmetic products. So basically we're talking about it's repeated use and it stays on your skin all day. It's not like you put it on, take some pictures and take it off. Metals can accumulate in the body over time because your body can't get rid of them. So it stores them, and they get stored in different places like the liver or in adipose tissue. A number of them are known to exhibit, this is really small print, so exhibit different chronic health effects, such as cancer, contact dermatitis, developmental, neurological, and reproductive disorders, brittle hair, hair loss, Some metals are potent. So that's terrible, right? Because you put cosmetics on to look better, but then it causes you to lose all your hair,
Right.
or your skin to be really damaged. Anyways, the respiratory toxins are in there. Moreover, some metals such as cadmium, arsenic, lead, mercury, and antimony. The antimony goes back to my chemistry major days. That's not a metal most people talk about anymore, but it's in there and it's harmful. It's like a silverish powder. Sometimes it's solid, but it's very brittle. Um, Anyways, they're all bad for you. And the U.S. FDA estimated 12,500 chemicals used in cosmetics. 20% of them are safe, according to Cosmetic Ingredients Review.
Why aren't we filtering this stuff? Is
Twelve
that, can we ask
thousand.
that?
Yeah, only
Sorry,
20%
I'm
are safe.
old.
Only 11 of them, not 11%, 11 of the 12,000 are banned in the U.S. So there's 12,000 chemicals that are potentially harmful.
Right.
20% are safe. That means 80% are not safe, but 11 of them are banned in the U.S.
Okay, so you just read that they're endocrine system disruptors too, right? Some of these are
Well, we're going to say that later, but yes,
okay. Well, you said it affects the endocrine system.
absolutely does.
Okay, so here's the thing. Cosmetics are used predominantly by women, right? I mean, both can use them and both do. But in general public, on the norm, mostly women who are also the ones bearing children, right? So now we have all of these 80% of these chemicals that are in cosmetics, which are used predominantly by women who are the ones bearing children.
I really don't think we can say that anymore. There's a lot of men wearing. I mean,
Okay, well,
just
it's
to
still
turn on the news, men are wearing. But
sure, but this still goes
Yeah.
to my point. Whether it's men or women,
right,
we're both participating in childbearing, right? In the creation of children.
okay.
So, and look at our fertility rates or infertility rates
Oh, yeah.
at this juncture.
Oh, there's been fertility clinics all over the place.
Oh my gosh. So let's look at these things. Think about that when we're reading these, because these are this is the reason why we're going through these.
Yep.
Is because right there they're saying 80% of the ingredients or the chemicals in these
Are bad for you.
are bad for you and can cause things like infertility.
Now, 11 are banned in the U.S., but 1,300 of them are banned in the European Union.
Correct. The U.S. is not they are not overly concerned. We just read an article about PSAs not long ago.
Right. Well, thank you, FDA. But, at least it's being made, although this article came out a few years ago, 2019. This is August 2019. Heavy metals such as lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and nickel, as well as aluminum, classified as a light metal, are detected in various types of cosmetics, like color cosmetics, face and body care products, hair cosmetics, herbal cosmetics. The metals are from the contamination of raw materials and use of substandard raw materials, lack of compliance by small-scale manufacturers, and lack of strict regulation. So the manufacturers aren't being regulated properly, and then they're also using poor techniques to make these. Now, I'm not going to read a lot of the details, but it does say that a lot of U.S. people wear like cosmetics from Pakistan and the Middle East. Even Iran was mentioned in there because they say their makeup seems better, higher
Cleaner.
quality, but it's not. It's actually more toxic
Wow.
and even less regulated. So so it's actually worse for you. Don't use the ones that are imported from other countries.
I'll have a recommendation when you're done as to where you can find. I'll bring it back up again because there is a location where you can find out what chemicals and what ingredients are in everything in the
right.
U.S. market. So you have to do your research.
That one report showed that there's lead in toothpaste,
That would not be surprising.
both in U.S. and Europe. Nickel also in lipstick and lead. I mean, when we put it on our lips, it's pretty close to being ingested as well, but it gets absorbed through the lips.
But you will ingest it unintentionally because you lick your lips and
Correct.
you eat things and it's going to be on your food.
Use of eye cosmetics imported from Pakistan was found to be strongly correlated with elevated blood lead levels.
Mm.
So don't get stuff from Pakistan. Kohl, a type of KOHL, kohl, a type of customary cosmetic product used for eyeliner in the Middle East, contains more than 50% of lead.
Oof.
A similar study with Malaysian eyeshadow shows the same. Lead content exceeding limit of international standard.
Wow.
Cadmium and lead was profound among lipstick samples of Iran and were the most predominant in most Indian cosmetics, along with arsenic.
And to think, we are so worried about our children chewing on the window seals in our homes, and we're not
Yeah.
even talking about
But
cosmetics.
how many little girls are putting a lot of makeup on?
That's what I'm
and
saying.
competing in beauty contests. A similar study shows predominance of mercury and lead among Indian herbal cosmetics. You know, when you hear herbal, you think it's probably safe.
Right. I'm actually a little bit surprised because a lot of coloring used in food that we're doing in a more safe manner was actually derived from countries like India
Yeah,
because they use things like turmeric and you know
right.
food-based colorings, beets and whatnot to color to color food and
Yeah.
other things. So not all bad there, right?
No.
I mean they do understand some of that.
Speaking of color, well, here's shampoo has some things in it like cobalt. That's an allergen, and then individuals with tattoos containing red pigment, uh, of the starting point of mercuric sulfur. I guess that's the name of the color.
Oh my gosh, I never would have even thought of tattoos.
Yeah.
Isn't that so funny? In all of the things
They
I
may
think about,
encounter. So they may encounter. So if you have red in your tattoo, you may encounter irritation that is restricted to that region inside a half year of tattooing.
wow.
Henna. So a lot of people use henna
Yeah.
because it's like a temporary tattoo. Henna, a traditional plant product applied as temporary paint on tattoos, and hair dyeing, is reported to be very rich in heavy metals such as mercury and lead.
Wow.
And they cover themselves with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people. I mean, we have
Yeah.
patients
Ceremonial.
who come in and they have henna all over their arms.
Yeah.
Who knew? I had no idea there's mercury and lead in that.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Reported that arsenic content of lipstick, eyeshadow, and eyebrow pencils was significantly higher than the federal regular. Anyways, you get the point. There's so much in here, and it's a very dense, very deep article. You need to be super careful. I mean, this goes on and on.
So I think the bottom line is this, unless there's anything else you want to read, is that
Well, there was one part I did want to get to, if but I'll just mention it. One is need for improved blood lead testing and surveillance is definitely as issue, and they found that if they could do that, they would save $213 billion per year in healthcare costs. So. And then another one is
why don't we just regulate the cosmetic companies? Wouldn't that be better than just getting a better blood test to see how toxic we are? It seems backwards. I'm sorry.
And stop importing the bad stuff from other countries.
Right, but our stuff is bad enough.
It's
It's
bad
not like
enough.
our stuff is good.
No.
So here's the biggest recommendation.
Get your makeup from Europe.
Well, even more so, there are some brands that don't do that. So it's not like it's an all or nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
The reality is there are a few more organic brands, but
Well, before
don't.
you give them the website, the last thing I want to mention is they specifically mentioned with emphasis, if you are pregnant, you cannot be putting these cosmetics on your skin. It's not good for you. It's not good for the baby.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
The website to help them
No, I
find.
was
You
saying
said there's
something else
organic
first.
ones.
Yeah, there are some organic ones, but don't take the word organic for at face value, because there's a lot of companies that slap that word on there. But the product is still has tons of chemicals in it. So the website that we have found most that has served us best in being able to see what's actually in it and what those chemicals will do to the body is ewg.org. So ewg.org is going to be that. They're a nonprofit group. They have gone through and tested every single product, so they know exactly what are in these products. They know what's on the label of these products, and they know what these chemicals will do to the body. So before you're putting something on yourself or on your children or loved ones, go and just look at those products and see if it's an endocrine system disruptor, if it's carcinogenic, if there's a lot of heavy metals, and just know these will have effects on your health. There's no way around it.
Yeah, I believe it stands for Environmental Working Group,
Yes, it does.
EWG.org.
Mm-hmm.
The next article, the title says, Getting COVID Shot During Pregnancy Helps Protect Newborns, CDC Study Finds. This study, I wanted to review this right after talking about cosmetics, because we are telling pregnant, expecting moms to not use cosmetics or shampoos or toothpaste that have
Heavy metals.
poison in them. So I think this is one of those things where you really have to look at the talk to your doctor, make sure you do a lot of research. I would even talk to multiple doctors and even a pharmacist. Sometimes pharmacists have a lot more information than medical doctors do, because they spent their entire career studying just the pharmacologic effects of everything, including vaccines. And so the vaccine, they say it helps protect the newborn from the virus. And they said that's because newborns can't get the vaccine until they're 6 months old. We reported on that last time. So, and the first 3 months are the critical days where the babies are the most vulnerable. The study said it was 54% effective against COVID hospitalization, according to the report. Among the organizations urging vaccination for pregnant moms are the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, which has pointed to numerous studies showing the shot can also help reduce the risk of severe illness for the mother. Still, pregnant women who contract COVID can face an increased risk of complications, including stillbirth, though overall risks are low, according to the CDC. Pregnant women have also been advised to get pertussis, whooping cough vaccine, and now the new RSV vaccine.
There are some cultures that just don't take their baby out. The mom and baby do not leave the house, and people are not allowed in unless they're part of the family.
Sometimes for a year.
Yeah, I think commonly it can be anywhere from 30 days to 3 months. That's very common in a lot of cultures. The grandmother will come in and help take care of the mom and the new infant. That's the way it's done. And there's a reason for that, because having a newborn out around a bunch of people is probably not the best thing, but yet we have to work, we have to do those things. Our culture, unfortunately, is not built for new moms to be able to do just that. I wish it was. I wish we could figure out how to allow every mom to be able to stay home with a baby, not have to worry about illness or trying to make a scary decision about whether or not to take a vaccine and whether or not it'll help, weighing out the risk factors. It's such a touchy subject as it is. So I know I've spoken with a lot of pregnant moms over the past 3-4 years, and this is a very hard decision that they have to make.
Please
I'm
understand.
glad I'm not in those shoes. I would not want to have to make a decision like that at this point.
And I wish we could make the decision for you and just tell you what to do. It's beyond our scope. It's beyond my expertise, which is why I'm asking you, please do your research and really decide. There's a risk to everything. There's a risk to getting it, risk not to not get it. Decide which risk you want to take, and then stick to that decision.
Yep, 100%. All right. New nasal spray could help treat rapid heartbeat.
Interesting.
Study finds. Let me please do make a little caveat here. This has not been approved. So if you do struggle with this condition, please do not go out and start getting a nasal spray or using it in order to test this out on your own. So this is still in the testing phase. This has not been approved. And really what this article is about is like an off-label use, right?
Right. Can I explain what off-label is?
Please.
So a lot of times medication, you guys have heard of side effects. Well, they're not side effects, they're just effects, but there's desirable effects and undesirable effects. And one drug may have two different effects that it causes in the body. One of those gets approved by the FDA, but the other one hasn't been approved. However, your doctor has the right and the authority to say, I'm going to use this drug for this other condition, which is called off-label use. What bothers me about that system is usually the medical doctor who does off-label use of these drugs, they get their education and information from drug reps.
Right.
The
Which
reps are usually, they're educated, they have bachelor's degrees. They are not master's degree or doctorate degree.
While there may be some that have that.
That's right, but most of them have bachelor's degree, and a lot of those degrees are in marketing. And so they show up to the doctor's office and they open their suitcase and show the various drugs, and they'll say, this is what this is for, this is what this is for, here's some samples, by the way, there's off-label use for this one and that one. For example, I believe there's a heartburn medication that causes uterine contraction, so they actually use that to induce labor in women who are past their due dates.
So funny.
So that's just one example, but there's many off-label uses. You can look it up, it's public knowledge.
My question in off-label uses was always, why didn't it get approved? Is it a monetary thing? Is it because it would cost too much to then get get everything to go through to get approval for that second use?
I think it's more of a business decision.
That it would be the best and highest use,
Because
the best sales?
if yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is once it's out in the market, then they can use it for other things.
Yeah, it's interesting, but that does make me nervous. So I always question why it wasn't approved. So here's what it says. About 1 in 300 people in the United States have a racing heartbeat condition known as, tell me if I get this wrong, paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia.
Almost. I think it's paroxysmal.
Oh, I was so close. Well, I'll just say that one fast. I don't think I have to say it again, actually. In a new study, a nasal spray drug showed promise in treating these acute events and potentially becoming a superior to current treatments. If deemed safe and effective, which it has not been, this drug could help people get immediate relief and also lower the burden on the emergency healthcare system. Treatment for a racing heartbeat condition could soon be as simple as taking a fast-acting inhaler for asthma attacks if clinical trials of a new nasal spray pan out. That's according to new research published September 27th in the Journal of American Heart Association. This tachycardia, it's referred to as PSVT, is a term that defines a subset of heart conditions in which the heart beats for more than 100 beats per minute in its lower chambers for a short period of time. Now, when I was first reading this article, it sounded like this was something that was just naturally occurring in about 1 in 300 people. And that could have been how I read it. But then there's some hyperlinks in it, and a few pages down, I actually clicked on it and I got a whole new picture, which I found very interesting. So although I felt like this makes it seem like it's a natural phenomenon, it's really not. So we'll get to that in just a second. According to the National Library of Medicine, the condition affects millions of people in the United States and is expected to affect nearly, check this out, 7 million people by 2050. Now, the reason why I began to wonder if this was naturally occurring is because I could not figure out how they could predict something naturally occurring that would increase to 7 million people by 2050.
What is
Is
it
that-
now?
that's how my
300,000? Oh, you said
one
one
in
in
every
300,000.
300 people.
Oh,
Yes,
so
which
that means it's 1 million now, because if we roughly have 350 million in the U.S.,
Mhm.
so it's about a million, and it's gonna grow by sevenfold.
Yeah. Although I saw a different number somewhere else. So
Okay.
but roundabout. While this is typically not life threatening, the condition can cause fainting, lightheadedness, shortness of breath, dizziness, and heart palpitations. What's the difference between tachycardia and heart palpitations?
Palpitations is more of an irregular
Okay.
beat, and it's short term.
Okay.
While
So it can cause an increase to be over 100 beats per minute for a short period of time in the lower chambers, and then it can also create an irregularity in that heartbeat. Thank you. And it says it can develop at any age and can stem from conditions such as anxiety, cardiomyopathy, and pneumonia. So that's where I began to go, what? Well, I didn't feel like that was giving the whole picture. So it says looking for treatments for racing heartbeats. It says current treatments usually involve either treating the root causes of PVST, which is the hyperlink that I clicked, such as prescribing beta blockers to treat hyperthyroidism in hyperthyroidism induced PVST, and surgical or catheter treatments to eliminate disruptive heart tissues. So I thought to myself, that seems really invasive. So I'm going to skip over to that second article real quick in which I did the hyperlink. So it says heart beating fast for no reason, causes and treatments. So I wanted to dig deeper and see what causes this irregular or this high increased heart rate.
let me guess, it's ice cream.
Oh my gosh, how did you know? You're sad. It is not ice cream. Okay. So it says a fast heartbeat of over 100 beats per minute can happen for various reasons, including, this was left out, drug interactions, alcohol, stress, and some other health conditions. That feels like a bigger picture. Okay. So, and I think that's probably why they're able to get a full number, where we're going to be in 2050, because some of this, I think more than we'd like to think, is probably caused by the drug interactions.
It also means it's been increasing over the past 25 years, because they go 25 years ago it was this. So if it grew
Right.
by sevenfold, then it's going to grow another sevenfold over the next. So clearly it's been increasing.
Yes. So it says, what are some of the potentials? Why could this happen? Well, they do say that one cause is a response to strong emotions. So this is something you know a lot about because you've written a book on stress, right? 2 books on stress. So stressful emotions such as anxiety, anger, and fear can cause a person's heart rate to increase. We know that, right? Because that's the body's response. It's supposed to do that.
It is.
Correct? When the body experiences stress, the adrenal glands release epinephrine or adrenaline. The body has 2 adrenal glands on top, one on top of each kidney. The body uses epinephrine to prepare a person for immediate action. This sounds like fight or flight. Is that what this is referring to? Okay. Epinephrine can cause a person to experience increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, enlarged pupils, palpitations, sweating, anxiety. Generally, a person should find those symptoms decrease once they no longer feel stress, right? So I was super excited to see what the initial recommendations for treatment were, according to this article. It says a person who experiences stressful emotions regularly may be at risk for developing certain conditions. The American Psychological Association note that chronic stress can increase a person's chance of developing certain conditions like high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke, which we know through some of the research and study that we've done on HRV, heart rate variability. So here's what they say should help to manage stress: exercising regularly, engaging in relaxing activities such as meditation or massage, setting goals and priorities, speaking with friends and family with emotional support, and talking with a doctor or healthcare provider. So I thought that was a really good response to that. Usually we want to throw other drugs and stuff at it, but those were not the first things recommended. Some other things that can contribute to these increased heart rate is going to be caffeine, which should not be surprising, alcohol, nicotine, illegal stimulants, and then certain medications. This is why I wanted to point this out. Certain medications can cause a person to have irregular heartbeat, including inhalers. Can we sit in that for 1 minute? I said inhalers. Okay.
Well, yeah, because an inhaler is a bronchodilator, which is the opposite of what a beta blocker does.
Right.
Which means technically it's supposed to increase your heart rate and blood pressure.
Right.
And open the lungs.
Which is why I found it interesting that the article before is about reducing the tachycardia by using the inhaler.
Yeah, I was surprised too.
Okay. This is why we do this, because that is very confusing, right? These are questions you need to be asking, and this is why you need to look at these studies and go, okay, that's interesting, because this one says completely the opposite. Okay. Now, it might be the one inhaler in particular that they're talking about, a new one that's coming onto the market, but overall, that's not been what inhalers do. Also, high blood pressure medication, antihistamines, antifungals, antidepressants, and antibiotics. So those are all things that can increase that heart rate. So just be aware of that. Certain supplements also, bitter orange, valerian. I was very surprised to hear about valerian. I actually like valerian tea a lot. I don't use it very often.
Valerian is the herbal version of Valium.
Correct. I don't take Valium regularly either. Ever. But it says valerian is a supplement used for anxiety, insomnia, depression, premenstrual syndrome, headache, and menstrual issues.
Helps with migraine headaches, yeah.
We always got it for sleep, so it really helps to drink a cup of that at night. Ginseng also is another herbal supplement that can increase that. Hormonal changes also is something else that you should be aware of that can increase that tachycardia.
Now, I was only half kidding when I said ice cream, because if you're waking up in the middle of the night with your heart racing, it's because you ate too many carbohydrates before bedtime.
Yeah,
it can cause heart race.
Okay, that's good to know. So I think this is I think it's interesting that they're coming out with this. I won't say that I don't know if these stats to me are that impressive, but it says that in the initial studies that they did, there were 169 people who experienced PSVT, for whom the vagal maneuvers did not work. So there's one treatment using vagal maneuvers that helped to decrease that. These individuals did not experience a reduction. 105 of those were given the nasal spray drug, and at least once during the median of 232 days of follow-up. On this group, researchers reported that 60% of PSVT episodes resolved within 30 minutes and 75% resolved within an hour. But I'm pretty sure that 75%, the way it reads, it's of the remaining 40%. Right? Because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. So that 75% is really not a very high number if it's of the remaining 40% of the participants.
Well, it may or may not be.
Right. So something to look into.
But because they give everybody the spray at the same time, and then some people
60% of them improved within 30 minutes, so they would not have given them another.
Right. Did it say they gave another one after 30 minutes?
Some of them had it.
Oh, okay.
It says the researchers added that while around 1 in 3 study participants reported side effects from that drug, they were mild, including nasal congestion, a runny nose, but no heart-related events. Out of all the groups, around 23% did not respond to the medication and returned to a normal heartbeat on their own.
And don't think just because it says nasal spray, it's specifically referring to the nasal sprays you use for as a decongestant. Because that's different. That one dries up the mucus. This one does not. The chemical formula inside it is different. It's just nasal spray is the form of delivery of the drug. It's not the name of the drug.
Yeah. So the basically they say while the study is promising, there's still more that needs to be done before it can be ready and deemed safe for public use, including some follow-up studies, and then of course the eventual approval from the FDA. So again, don't use that at home on your own. Wait until it comes out that this is actually something that is going to be approved.
Yeah, you're basically playing with the autonomic nervous system when you do these things,
Yeah.
because the fight or flight response, the opposite of that is rest and repair. And during fight or flight, you also, you mentioned pupils get dilated and heart races and so on, but also your immune system goes down, and so does your digestive system. And you get cold hands, cold feet, dry eyes, dry mouth, dry skin. So all of those things are happening. Chronic stress syndrome has all of that long term. Those are people who always have cold hands. They catch summer colds. They have chronic sinus infections. Their hands and feet are cold even in the summer.
Yeah.
So if that's you, you are stuck in that fight or flight. You probably have a higher blood pressure, higher pulse rate, and you probably have high cholesterol as well. I am going to plug the book because it's relevant here, that this needs to be read and done and followed through so that you can control this on your own naturally.
I love that.
Good stuff today.
Great stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you for that article. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about PTSD next time. And I think
some longevity.
This was a good one. Yeah. So pregnant women, watch the cosmetics you're using.
Yeah.
Everybody watch the cosmetics you're using. Go to ewg.org and come join us again next time.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
We'll be back next week.
For sure.
Take care. God bless.
Bye.